It is the podcast of the bow hunters of the working class bow hunter podcast. Should probably shorten that intro again. We're episode 500 and we're probably in the 560s at this point.
Something.
I would think. Catching up. Kurt Geyer here.
Eric Hammond.
Doug Schmidt.
Austin Chandler.
In the house, special guest, the Scott Bakken of Dialed Archery. What's up, buddy?
Not much.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for coming.
Glad to be here.
Finally made it.
Yeah, after how many canceled?
17 years.
This is probably the fourth reschedule.
Yeah, about halfway down, I thought about turning around and just being like,
You said fuck
We
it.
can't do it. We can't do it.
I don't know. Just this drive isn't
It's
getting
okay.
any.
It's okay.
This drive isn't getting any better, and really, like, I feel like I'm just gonna walk into a room of disappointment.
But you know what? You're
A
here.
trailer.
You're
I
here.
made it.
You're here.
I made it.
That's right.
And it was worth the drive.
Because, like, honestly, like, he pulled up and, like, do we have a bathroom? Like, yes, we have a bathroom.
I felt a
You have
little.
a roof? Yeah, we have a roof, though.
I don't want to say I was offended.
We were
You can
offended.
say you're offended. It's
We were
fine.
offended 100%.
I wasn't
Yeah,
offended, but I
it's
was
fine.
like, wait, hold on. What did you think we had going on?
I don't know.
Because you were like, wow, this place is actually nice. And I'm like,
Well, I mean, like my GPS, it's like you're here, and I'm like in this little
bitch town. You can say it.
shithole town.
It's not a
Shithole,
shithole.
yeah.
And it's like
We're proud of this damn
and
town.
It's like all rundown buildings, and then I'm like, where is this place? And then there's the working class bow hunter sign with blacked out windows, and I'm like, yeah, this must be it.
You made it sound way worse than I feel like.
No,
I'm like, well,
100% worse.
I guess we're here. Like, probably wake up in the morning, my truck will be on blocks with the wheels off it, but that's fine. But no, this place is
could
awesome.
happen.
This place is dope.
Thanks, man.
Very cool.
Backhanded compliment, but I appreciate it.
We'll take it.
It's still,
100% backhanded.
it's still a compliment.
Oh, 100%.
We'll take what we can get at this point. Well, everybody else on the internet hates us except
Well, Scott,
for our
thanks
actual
for
listeners.
coming.
Thanks.
Hey,
I'm glad you showed up
I
and-
appreciate the invite, the multiple invites.
And we're glad you approve.
I'm glad I could finally make it down. Yeah,
Well,
this
thank
is
you.
great.
You know, the way we like to kick off partnerships is really to have you on. And this is a little delayed, but we're here.
Oh, you know, it happened.
So, dude, a lot has changed since the last time you've been on a podcast. And either some people, I think people that follow really closely are like, wait, hold on a second. Or people who just know, they're just like, oh, yeah, it's Scott from Dialed.
Yeah.
But going into it, like we go way back with you.
Yeah.
You know, we've been good friends a long time. We've worked together with other brands. We've had a great relationship. And really, you got in and Dialed is a new company on the scene. And I think from everything I've seen, people are pumped about it.
Yeah.
So I think first things first is kind of talk about what you can and how Dialed kind of birthed out of the old womb. Are you getting an echo?
I am.
Yep.
Yeah.
Are you getting an echo, Cameron?
Just a tiny little bit.
I wonder what that
But
is.
if people don't know who you are, tell us who you are, where you're from, how you're doing it.
So, well,
How
I'm
you
Scott.
I'm Scott.
Hey, Scott.
I enjoy
Hey,
long
Scott.
long walks on the beach, beautiful sunsets.
Nice.
No, I mean, just to kind of like just backing up to like when we first met, and I do remember like the first podcast we ever recorded, which is probably, I mean, going back now, I mean, you're probably talking like 6 years or something like that.
15.
Would have been 2015, summer of
15-ish.
2015.
Yeah, something
Yep.
like that. But so to go from there to like here, I mean, it's just awesome to like see this. I mean, this is like amazing. But yeah, so I mean, backing up, like I guess long story short, like my whole life has been in the archery industry. It's literally all I've ever done. Like I don't have anything outside of this. Like, you know, I've never done anything that didn't involve archery. So, you know, just progressing through the years, you know, my career just kind of advanced to eventually working for, you know, a company where we got introduced.
Yep.
And then from there, you know, honestly, Dialed is basically it's a bastard child of COVID. I mean, you know, having all that time, and you know, it was crazy times for everybody, but you know, having all that time like by yourself, like it just, you start thinking, right? Like,
Yeah.
so what are things going to look like when all this bullshit ends? Like what, what's next, whatever. And, at that point in my life, like just personally, I was kind of just in a really like fucked up spot. Like I didn't really know what's like, where am I going to go from here? And so kind of behind the scenes, my current business partners, Taylor and Jordan, we worked together and became really good friends. And, a lot of it, we just like during that COVID time, we just talked and a lot. Cause I mean, what else? You can't see anybody, you can't do anything. Like,
Yeah, right.
But, so we just kind of talked like all these what ifs and yada, yada, yada. And, I remember actually, I mean, going back to like some of the conversation we had tonight, like the last time I saw you guys was the last time I podcasted with you guys. And that was that night I stayed at your house and you and I talked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I remember, and
Which seems like yesterday.
It was 2 years ago,
It was 2 years ago.
2 falls ago, 2 hunting seasons
But
ago.
it
No,
seems
it was-
like
no,
it
it
seems
was-
like yesterday.
yeah, no, it was the weekend of the garage party.
Oh no, that's right. It was.
yeah. So it's going on
2
almost
years
three
ago.
3 years, I think,
Yeah.
actually.
Yep.
And anyways, yeah, 2 to 3 years, something like that. But so long story short, I was just kind of at the point in my life where, I was ready for something new. The current job I was in, it was, good job, but I needed more. Like,
You were
just-
ready for something new.
Well, it just, I was in kind of like this like dark, deep hole and I didn't see a way out of it. And it's like, honestly, it's to the point where I'm either going to drink myself to death or I got to fucking change something.
Yeah.
And then talking with my 2 current business partners at the time, talking to you, like just had all these like ideas. And finally coming out of COVID, I had another buddy of mine that I just kind of relied on to talk to. And he's like, well, what do you want to do in your life? And I was like, fuck, man, I have no clue. Like, but it would be awesome. And I said, I'd really love to own my own archery company. And even like as a kid, so I got my start in the archery industry from my uncle who owned an archery company. And I grew up going to like the shows, and actually like the very first year ATA was ATA, that was my first trade show. So like I've been going to ATA since the very beginning. So I've only missed 2 ATAs, and that was this year and the year that COVID happened.
We missed you.
shit.
We missed you.
I doubt that. It was probably a good thing I wasn't there.
we missed you. Okay, Scott.
But,
just
I
accept
didn't.
it.
I guess I didn't know that though. Like the running, like that's how you. I didn't know any of that. I don't think I did.
So that's literally since I was like 8 years old. Like I started going to trade shows and all that stuff. So, but so I was just like, man, like my dream was to eventually like own my uncle's company. Like that was my dream in my head.
Yeah.
And then he ended up selling it to his right-hand man, who's like a brother to me. So that was awesome. Like super happy that happened. In my mind, it's still like in the family, but
Right.
when that happened, I was like, okay, like I want to do that.
Can you say what company it was?
Pine Ridge Archery.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah. That was my uncle's company.
Damn.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. So
I didn't
now-
know that.
Yeah. So now Brian, who is the new owner, he was my uncle's right-hand man, like since the beginning. So that's how I got my start. But both my brother and I, actually, my brother's in the archery industry as well. But that's what kind of lit like the entrepreneur like goal, But
Since you were a kid, they kind of led you into this where you're at now.
yeah, well, and it's crazy because like thinking back, I mean, I'm almost 40 now, but thinking back through like high school and college, and everybody's like, I want to be an accountant. I want to do this. I want to do this. I'm like, I want to sell archery shit.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, loser.
Cameron, can you still hear through your headphones? We're doing kind of like we're experimenting with some like live switcher stuff as we're doing this. So, in my headphones I have feedback, but I don't know if we do on the recording. So
Very low.
I'm good on mine.
you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I run mine super hot, so I'm hearing shit that probably a lot of you guys aren't hearing.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry to interrupt. I just don't want to fuck up a whole good recording.
It probably won't be that good.
Yeah, well, in our
Well, you
eyes.
finally make it in the studio, so we got to make it good.
Yeah.
Come on now.
But anyways, so fast forward. Anyways, so we're coming on COVID and whatever, and so all these conversations are like playing in the back of my head. I got Taylor and Jordan, and they have their own media marketing company, which is very successful. But yet they were kind of looking for new challenges and stuff, and it was just kind of like it kind of was just like this perfect storm that was just brewing behind the scenes. And this buddy of mine, he's like, well, what are you waiting for? I'm like, well, dude, like owning your own business, like you got to be smart. Like you need money. I don't have any of that. Right. Like I'm just an average dude that like hunts, you know? And he's like, if you want it bad enough, you figure out a way. I'm like, all right. And so I was sitting there and I had this phone call with Taylor, and I was like, dude, what do you think about starting an archery company? He's like, I think we should do it. I'm like, for real? And he's like, yep. And so sold my house, cashed in all my 401ks, like literally just bailed, like fucking just took
Pretty awesome.
38 years of my life,
Bro.
packed it into a suitcase.
Congrats.
And I'm like, I'm out, like deuces.
Congrats.
And then, we started Dialed Archery. So
That's pretty awesome, dude.
And you know, the crazy thing is,
Hey, Scott, must be nice.
it's
Must be nice.
well,
Wait, how many times have you heard that?
never,
Never.
not once,
Not once?
No,
But
and
you'll hear it in like 5 years. So.
well, and that's the thing, you know, it's funny, but yet it's not funny, you know. But
Yeah, you really did it.
yeah,
But come back for a full
Well,
circle.
and-
Like, how long have we tried getting you on the podcast, and how busy have you been?
very.
Very
I mean,
good.
I have no life. Like
Exactly.
I have no life. But
Must be
I
nice. Must be nice.
I like that though. Like I
Yeah.
like being challenged every day. I like
and
being
that's,
busy.
That's,
And like I'll
that's
never
Scott
forget.
Bakken to us. Like,
Yeah.
that's you.
And like I remember when I called my parents and I was like, "Hey, I got some big news," and of course they're like, "Who'd you knock up?" And you know, like I'm like, "No."
Sounds like Doug's parents.
Yeah, I was like, "Nah, I think we're good." But
Maybe.
I was like, "So I'm quitting my job and I'm starting a company." And my mom's like, "You're doing what?" My dad's like, "Fuck yeah, like good for you," you know. And my mom's like, "You're doing what? Like,
Yeah.
you realize like it's probably gonna fail, like you know all this
Just
stuff."
she's worried for you.
You know, mom being mom,
Yeah.
you know, typical mom, like worrying and whatever. But yeah, so I mean, we're coming up on 2 years ago, like that all like was going on. And so the three of us, you know, we come together, we're like, we're going to do this, but we have no clue what we're going to do. No clue. Like we know like all of our backgrounds, like we're just like hardcore hunters that like really, really good quality shit, like technical stuff. Like we like that type of gear. Right. So like, honestly, we even threw out the idea of just like starting a t-shirt company. Like we had no clue. We just knew
why not?
well, it's just we all we knew was we wanted an archery company. We wanted something in the archery space. So we started just brainstorming. Like what's going to be our first product? Like is it going to be a rest, a release? Is it going to be something that's never been designed before? Like whatever. So we started these conversations and it's like, well, we need an engineer because none of us are engineers. Like we have two marketing whizzes and a sales guy that barely graduated college. So
Didn't contact Doug, did you?
I did actually. I did actually contact Doug. I was like, "Hey, you're an engineer, aren't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, kind of." And I'm
Yeah, kind of.
like, "All right, well."
Like, what are you looking for?
Exactly. Yeah, and so we get introduced to our one.
That's a really funny.
Doug's out.
Yeah, literally. But that was like the first person I thought of because it's like, all right, go through your Rolodex of contacts. Like,
Right.
Who do we know that are engineers? And I'm like, well, I know a bunch of engineers, but they're like, you know, like mechanical engineers, like big.
Well, that's the
big
thing.
stuff.
When you
like,
think when you think of something, you're like, okay, I know what I want, but I need someone to put that on paper what I want. So you got to think of an
well,
engineer.
and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you have these ideas in your head, but then how do I communicate this to somebody that can put it into CAD, right?
right.
And it's also like to give credit to good engineers, and there's you know there's good and bad in every career field. Some engineers you can't relay information on like
Because they're idiots. Let's be honest.
on a our brain level,
Right.
and that's important. Like
Right.
that's what makes a good engineer.
Well, and it's and I will say, no offense, Doug, but we have like two of the best engineers like
yeah,
ever because
That hurt.
they are well, you know.
To teach his own.
For the record,
get
we're,
better,
we're
get
sitting
better.
here giving Doug shit. Doug, out of the working class crew, I mean, and I don't consider working class being like because you work a shitty job, it's your attitude. But Doug's the only one with like a legit degree that has like a really, really good job.
And
I mean,
look what he's doing now.
well,
Well, he works for the government
but
also.
we got a welder, an electrician, a farmer, and a glorified combine mechanic is pretty much
Yeah.
our freaking roster. You know,
So somewhere in that recipe is like a multi-million-dollar idea. Like
Fuck yeah, there is.
somewhere
100%.
in that recipe. You just
100%.
get
For
you
sure.
just got to figure it out. But
for sure.
so yeah, anyways,
site?
so we hey.
Okay,
talk.
let's let the guy get it out.
We'll talk. But yeah, so anyway, so we developed the core team, and then we meet our first engineer, TJ Eads, who he's been in the archery space, has done for some work for some other archery companies and stuff. And right from the get-go, it was like a natural fit. And it was actually, like, thinking back now, it was like very scary how fast everything was coming together. Like, this was supposed to just kind of be like a think tank. Like,
Yeah.
let's just see where this goes, And
Shark Tank.
I literally had like every intention of just like I was already out. Like at that point, I had been in the archery industry for almost like 23 years, something like that. And I was ready just to walk away, just leave it all and just go do whatever. Like, I really didn't have a backup plan. It was just,
Were you scared?
terrified. Yeah, honest to God, terrified. But at the same time, again, I was just kind of at the point where I'm like, since I was 13, I've worked. Like,
Right.
I was not that kid that really got to enjoy like spring breaks or summer breaks or any of that stuff because I always worked.
Hey,
And
shout out. Shout out.
so I was scared, but at the same time, I was like, if this doesn't work, like I'll figure it out. Like I'm getting older, but yet I'm young enough to where,
But there's 1,000 things you can fall back on.
well, yeah, fuck, like I'll go work at Quick Trip or something. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
what I
I'm not
mean.
afraid to work.
There's always
you know?
you're always gonna make ends meet.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
But it was very obvious, like right out of the gates, that this team we were forming, like this was like meant to happen. And that sounds kind of like cliche and kind of like dramatic, but that feeling was, I've never felt that before. Like throughout my entire career, like,
That gives you that next push.
well, it gave us like confidence,
Right.
like
That's what I mean.
it just
It makes
it
confidence.
felt like okay, after all this time, this is why we all met, right? This is why we all came together. So we meet TJ, we bring him on board, we start talking, and again, we still don't know what we're gonna do. Like, we're spitballing all these ideas, yada yada yada, and given my previous employment, actually the last thing I wanted to do was a site. And I just didn't have the stomach for it. Didn't really want to go down that path. But every time we talked, it always came back to like looking at the industry and all the site companies out there, which there are a lot of really good ones. And a lot of them, they put out a really good product. But on the surface, they're very like cookie cutter. And they all operate the same thing. They all offer the same features, the same benefits, all this stuff. So it's just like every time we talked, it came back to like, well, if we did a site, we could do this. And again, like we're tapping into like all of our backgrounds, like all of our experiences. And so finally it was just kind of like, all right, well, hell with it. Let's just see what we can come up with. And it was like 2 days later, and it was like late, TJ presented us with like an idea board of like some just designs that he had. And it was it was like the initial, like, what is this site gonna look like? And he pulled all these images from like all different places, like all different industries, products, all the stuff. And we literally were just like, we like that look, we like that look, we like that look, we like that look, like that looks cool, like that'd be cool if you could do that, whatever. He's like, all right. He's like, I think I got something I can work with or whatever. And then 2 weeks later, he sent us a CAD drawing, and it was what is now currently the Arcsos. Like that.
Really?
Like that.
Wow.
And we are all just like, holy shit.
That would have taken
That's
Doug
impressive.
4 weeks.
And we're like, well, there's no way that works. Like you look at the Arcsos, and it's got a lot of like proprietary features, like stuff that's never been done before. And the whole time we're like going through this, we're like, okay, we're thinking of this, but how is it that nobody else has ever done this? Like, we're not that smart.
Kind of like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Well, and that's the thing.
there's
too,
a
like,
reason why this has never been done before, right?
It works good on paper, but can you make this into a physical product?
Yeah, that's a scary
Exactly.
thing, yeah.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
So then TJ presents us with this drawing, and it's like, holy shit, like that, it looks awesome. And then we start dialing into each part and all the stuff. And, there's a lot of behind the scenes, stuff that happened. But, and then, yeah, now this is where we're at. Like, it came to fruition and we actually could build it. And then, we launched, it was like November 15th or 16th of 2021 was like the official.
Right in the middle of COVID.
No, so this was like coming out of COVID.
Just after, yeah.
Yeah, the fall after COVID. And, we timed it to launch like right when all the new bow companies are like launching their new bow and stuff like that. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in my parents' basement because I was homeless, and I had my computer on, and I remember watching the website go live and being like, all right, it's out. Like,
It's all or nothing.
it's here we go. And the website looked awesome. Taylor designed the whole thing. I mean, everything was like on point. And then literally within like the first hour, we had like 100 orders.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And champagne ready?
And well, I freaked out. I texted Taylor. I'm like, dude, like somebody hacked our website. Like, what's going on with this? He's like, no, dude. He's like, these are legit orders. And I'm like, no fucking way. And then it just kept going. And like next thing you know, it's like 1 month goes by, 2 months goes by, 3 months goes by, and the order tally. And these are all just pre-orders, right? Like, these are just people buying sites that aren't even made yet. And
They've never seen them, never handled them, nothing.
Nope. And so that was when we're like, holy shit. Like, we might be onto something here. And then we get into the springtime, and then that's when we actually started getting to like the manufacturing, like nuts and bolts. And this whole time, we're all just like psyched. I mean, we are like excited, optimistic. Like, I mean, we're on cloud 9.
Yep.
And in that time frame, that was when all the supply chain issues were happening, and like all these companies were dealing with it, and like all of us being in the industry, we heard it from everybody, and we're just kind of like, the fuck, like, we're good, like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but
It's like you order a stack of aluminum, it might get there in a week or 3 months.
yeah, I mean,
You never
like
know.
life was good. And
It's
then
like aero companies weren't able to get carbon.
nobody,
and all sorts of
nobody.
shit.
I mean,
I mean, we all know it was COVID. Everybody was
everyone
fucked.
here in this room has dealt with it. It was either you got it in a week or 6 months.
But I feel like a lot of consumers understand that? Or
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And so, looking back, like, when we decided to do Dialed, we literally, and I remember Taylor and I talking about it like every day. We're like, what would cause Dialed to fail? Like, what are we missing here? And, most companies, like, they always say like 999 companies out of 1,000 fail, but it isn't because it was a bad product or bad ownership or whatever. It was bad timing. And
you guys
all
nailed it.
while we felt at that time the industry was ready for a new site, like it was ready to be shook up, like, and this is jumping way ahead, but I've always felt, again, growing up in the industry, that if you look at the trend of the industry, it's all these private equity companies coming in, buying up like the mom and pop shops, like brands that we all grew up with, and they were all started in the garage. So that was the trend, and we're like, the industry's ready for something new, something different. So timing couldn't be more perfect for us to start a new company. And, like, money was cheap. So if we needed to borrow money, it didn't cost us anything, right?
Yeah.
And, again, the timing of the industry was great, but as far as a sourcing time frame, it was the absolute worst time. But, again, going into the springtime, everything was good. Like, we were prototyping, like we were getting materials, like everything was just moving, and, it was developing and progressing.
It was
and
flawless.
I mean, it literally, like, not knock on wood, like we were like, this is so easy. it was just smooth sailing.
Yeah.
And then we hit summertime, and it was like Dialed Archery meet reality, like a brick fucking wall. Like
you hit that lull.
all of a sudden we hit the supply chain issues.
Yep.
And at the worst time, because we were already on the road going to events, like promoting the product. And even like I remember like the very first like Total Archer Challenge we went to, which was Pennsylvania, and we had such high expectations. And I rolled in there with one sight. That's all I had. The only parts that we could pull together was to make one sight, and it was garbage. I mean, like I still have like one of my bows has the OG version 1 dialed Arcsos on it.
Yeah.
And I look at that, I'm like, I can't believe I ever showed anybody that sight. I mean, it is compared to now, but at the time we're like, this is badass, right?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Right.
But so then we go through all these supply chain issues through the summer, and the only way to combat those issues was with money. And again, we're funding this whole thing. 3 guys.
Out of your pocket.
Yep. Our own pocket. Like, again, like I sold my house, cashed in all my 401ks, my savings account, all that. We just put it all into the company. And so, like molds, for example.
Yep.
Couldn't get steel to make molds. So we paid more money, expedite the process, go overseas, whatever we have to do to get this shit going. And then we're running out of money. And it's like, we haven't even.
Well, yeah, because you got molds, and then all of a sudden you got to machine the mold.
And then it's 10 to 12 weeks to make the molds. And
yeah.
so anyways, now we're rolling.
Process on top of the molds, on top of the molds.
Yeah. So now we're going into June, and through this whole time frame, we're still getting orders, but we haven't shipped a single product.
Oh, stressful, man.
Dude, I literally like saw my life just like ending. I'm like, I don't know. My biggest fear in life is like disappointing people. Like everybody has like fears of death, fears of whatever. Like my fear is disappointing people. And here we have thousands of people that we are going to disappoint. And
they're counting on you.
I could not like stomach that. But that's, again, going back to our team, like the tenacity of our team is like none like I've ever seen. So we just fought through it, and now we're getting into August and we still don't have parts. And I remember Taylor and I, like, things were pretty hot. Like, we're like, what the fuck do we do? Taylor had to take a second mortgage on his house, like we are all in on this thing. And we very easily could have just given up, walked away.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whatever. But, there was that little shining light, and, all it took was like, a few people that had pre-ordered would email us and be like, hey, we know you guys are just starting up, just to let you know, like, we got your back, like, we support you guys, like, and that would just keep us trucking.
That's very cool.
That's awesome.
And that's all. Then that's kind of the thing you need. Like, okay, you might not get your site in 6 months, but this guy's like, hey, no matter what happens, if I get in 6 months or 8 months, I'm back.
And
But also, on the contrary, a lot of people are fucking dicks.
Yeah.
Well,
They are.
you know what's
And,
crazy?
and entitled a little.
They're-
You know what's
there's-
crazy is going through that pre-order process, there was more patience then than now.
Oh,
So
really?
people waiting like 8 months for a site, they were like, I don't care if I don't get it till the fall. Like, just make it right. Like, don't release a product until it's right. And we
don't cut
never
corners
planned
and
on,
stuff.
like, if it was not a product that we would use, we weren't gonna launch it.
Yeah.
That's
But
all.
like now, it's like there's people where they place an order, and if they don't see it in 3 days, they're like, "Where's my site?" Where
Yeah.
there was people that went 10 months. But
Right.
So, anyways, so we get into August, and we're finally getting parts, and now reality sets in, and it's like, here's our hole. We're at the bottom of it. How the fuck do we get out of this?
Do we
and
climb ourselves out
it's
of it?
3 guys building sites, and we have to build thousands of them. And
Shit.
yeah, and we're still like, we're learning on the fly. Like, parts aren't fitting. Like, I remember the first day we built sites, we were in the shop for almost 16 hours, and we built 10 sites.
Oh, just kind of learning the process and
Trying to figure it out.
Stuff wasn't going together. Parts weren't fitting. Tolerances were off.
shit.
All this stuff. So it was literally like the learning curve was very quick and very short. And then September hit, we found our rhythm, and then next thing you know, by October 1st, we're dug out of the hole, and then it's smooth sailing.
That's pretty quick considering what you
do. Taylor and I, it was funny. Like we talk about it like all the time about, that those August days when we'd be at the shop and it was like hot as shit in there. Tension was high. We'd be yelling at each other and stuff, and it was like, how did we make it out of that? You know, and it's just
Well, you did.
we did, and we're still, we're going into year 2, but now like where we sit compared to where we were those last 4 months, it's like we look back on those days and we laugh.
You laugh about
Yeah.
it.
It's like,
oh, dude, you almost like have to go through that stuff, like no matter with what you do. Because if it was just like perfect and all that, you'd almost feel like
the easy button.
easy
Yeah.
button.
If it's easy peasy, hey, us three right here wouldn't be here right now.
Oh well, you can't like things are better
Secondhand
in the
fun.
end if it sucks.
well,
Right?
and I do think like you have to go through that suck. Like that's
Oh,
a
you
very
have to.
important like phase in the business life cycle or like being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Like I do not think like, I think anybody can be an entrepreneur. Like it's not that hard to start a business, right?
It's also
like
it's easy to say you're an entrepreneur, but
Well, but anybody can be,
Anybody
like
can be,
anybody
yeah.
can like, and like COVID proved it. Like, I mean, you can
100%.
start up a website for $20 and sell t-shirts, hats, whatever. Like, it's not that hard, but going through that suck, like testing your mental like fortitude and like how dedicated are you and like how willing are you to like sacrifice everything and like go through those tough times, like that literally sets the whole like framework for the company going forward.
Oh, 100%.
So, and like we're still dealing, I mean, every day, like we're still learning, we're still battling issues, like that'll never end. But without those really, really tough times, we wouldn't be like the company that we
Where
are
you're
now.
at
And
now.
like now, I mean, we're more, I mean, like Dialed is not a one-hit wonder. Like Dialed is like, we're here for the long game. So that's the long story of like how Dialed got to where we are today.
I love it. I do
But-
love the build up and as to kind of clarify. Let's save this conversation for the end. I want to talk about like the relationship of WCB and Dialed.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to just focus on Dialed for now. I was going to skip ahead a little bit, but I want to wait. This doesn't fit here. When you guys design the site, the Arcsos, and I got it on the monitor. By the way, your guys' website is fucking amazing.
Killing it.
Like it just does.
Slicker than
But
shit.
by the way, congratulations on 100% the best looking site ever designed in the game. Like without a doubt, anybody can battle me on that. I'll fight you over it. It's the best looking site there is.
Yeah.
Well,
there's no question.
That was my one stipulation when we decided we were going to do a site. I said we are
I have
not
an idea.
Well, I mean, I had a lot of ideas, but I said we are not going to be another site company. Like it is not going to be a cookie cutter site. Like we are not going to look like anybody else. Like it has got to be different, unique,
It's sexy, dude.
and we did not design the
Play-Doh snakes.
Arcsos for like the masses. It was a very niche market we went after. It was guys like us that like new techie, like we literally wanted to build this thing and have people look at us and be like, what the hell is that thing? And that's been the response, and that's the exact response that we've wanted.
100%.
Like it is not your
Like-
average site.
Oh,
You
good.
have to grab it and look at it. Like you got to pick it up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It
Kudos to
almost
you guys,
doesn't
too,
look
on your
real.
marketing. Go ahead, man.
I'm sorry. No, I've been talking this whole time.
I was just going to say kudos on the marketing too, because for the last 2 years, I've seen Dialed everywhere. So you guys have knocked it out of the park.
That's all Taylor and Jordan.
Yep.
And that's again like when we all came together, like you look at the team and all of us have our
saying it.
like saying it, but we all have like our like we're all good at different things.
You have your role, your job, and within it.
and even though I'm a marketing major, but marketing is not my thing. Like, but Taylor and Jordan, that's what they do. So it just, again, like when you look back, like everybody came together for a reason. Like there's a reason why we all have our specialties and it all ended up in one spot. And That's, I mean, everything you see like on the website, like social media, like the email blast, that is all those guys.
I'm
like,
picking it, man. It's all clean.
I mean, it is. And, you know, when we designed the Arcsos at that time, you know, that was when like Hoyt had just launched like their Picatinny mount. Matthews was coming out with the bridge lock system. And we literally wanted this sight to look like when you mounted it to your bow, it was like all molded at one time.
An extension of it.
Like
yeah.
Part of the bow.
everything. And like, if you look at our slogan, like our slogan, it's designed on purpose. Like every part of that site, there's a reason for it. And, you know, again, there's a lot of really, really good sites out there, but when you look at them, you're like, there's a lot going on here. And, you know, again, like they have their way of designing stuff, like whatever. But, you know, when our site, we wanted it to be very functional, very like clean. And when you pick it up, it's not like, you know, what am I supposed to touch and what am I not supposed to touch? So on the Arcsos, any exposed hardware that you see, you're meant to adjust it. If you're not meant to adjust it, we hit it. You don't need to mess with it. Don't worry about it.
Badass.
Out of sight, out of mind. But we also want it to be very recognizable. And again, that goes back to like that drawing board thing I was telling about that TJ presented us. That's how like the most dominant feature of the Arcsos is the void dial. Like, so again,
When you see that sight, you know it's a dialed sight.
and that was the main objective of that void dial was being able to recognize it right away.
Yep.
So like in the past, when I'd go to archery shoots, like my right-hand man at the time, we used to pay, they were actually drinking games, but we would go to shoots and every time we saw a sight, we'd be like, oh, hey, that's our sight. Like take a drink. And like we could dictate like that's a black gold, that's a CBE, that's a spot hog, whatever. Cause we're in that game. Like we know those.
Yeah,
You know
you're,
what- you know-
you're looking closer.
99% of the people, like they don't remember what sight they're shooting.
No,
like
absolutely not.
They don't, like they focus on the bow, the arrow, the broadhead, all that stuff. So, but when you see our sight, you're like, there's that big donut hole, like that's dialed, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's
Can't
also
miss it.
functionality to it.
The
too.
big homer.
Yeah.
What does your site have that makes it stand out from other sites? Like if you can just go through like some of the features, like right off the rip, someone goes to dialedarchery.com, like I'm going to order me a dial now because Scott sounds like he's a pretty man and I like working class bow hunter and I want to support what they're doing.
And he's
Like-
beautiful.
Like he's a beautiful man. So what does your site offer and what can someone expect to do when they order a dialed?
So, I mean, that at the end of the day, like a sight's a sight, right? Like it's an aiming tool. But, you know, with ours, it is different. And again, like I said, it was built on purpose. And that purpose is to make you a better and more confident shooter. So, like, I mean, obviously the most recognizable feature is the void dial system, right? So having that big hole in the center, it's easy branding. But because we made that oversized dial and it goes through the frame rather than being an external dial, now all the gears are internal. So there's no exposed gears. So everything's protected. So like you don't have to worry about dust, dirt, sticks, anything getting caught up in your gears. It's all protected. But then because it goes through the center of the frame, now we can take your yardage tape, which is normally on the outside, and we can put it on the inside, which for the Picatinny rails, the bridge lock systems, or just like quiver mounting issues, now it's on the inside of your riser.
That's what I chose the inside.
I did too.
Yep.
Also.
What 95% of our sales have been inside. Like
Really?
the only advantage to having your sight tape on the outside is that it does give you a little bit more meat to grab onto with the dial because it sticks out. But other than that, it should be on the inside.
Yeah.
But so that was like the frame of the site. And then moving forward, you know, one of my big things going to different archery shoots and stuff is, you know, your setup dictates like your yardage tape, right? Like, so even though we're all very like similar in stature, like same height, same, you know, wingspan, all that stuff, we all shoot different setups, right? So our yardage tapes are all different and all that stuff. But so I would go to all these shoots and I would see particularly like, you know, like people that shot really, really heavy arrows, which I shoot really heavy arrows, or short draw lengths, low poundage, whatever, you were handicapped. You know, like even though you physically and capability wise, you could shoot further, you couldn't.
You run on a tape.
Your sight housing you'd run out of clearance, right? Between your sight housing and your fletching.
Yep.
So that's where we came up with the angled elevation rail. Never been done before. And that was that one feature. It's like, why hasn't this been done before?
Elevation rail is a spot that your housing moves up and down on, like the frame, right?
So imagine if you had a dovetail bar or a large rod with
Nice.
with a scope housing attached to the end, and you had it fully extended all the way from your bow, right? And you shot at 20 yards, and every shot you slowly moved that rod closer to the bow, you would see your arrows impacting higher. So the closer your scope housing gets to your riser, the higher your impact. So that's how you gain range, right? So how do we replicate that with an adjustable sight? You have to angle the rail. But there's a range where you don't angle it enough and you don't see any effect down range. But then there's also the opposite of that, where if you angle it too much, now you're getting kicked out of your scope and peep alignment.
Your sight.
Right? So it doesn't work. So trying to find that perfect angle. So ours is roughly like it's at about a 20-degree angle. So from the very top position to the bottom of the rail, it's about 3/4 of an inch difference, which makes a huge difference downrange, but it does not affect your peep alignment at all.
Wow.
So
That's how we extend your range. So that's like part of our marketing is we can extend your range, which full disclosure, we don't promote that for hunting, but
For fun.
well, or
Target.
just if you go to a lot of the archer shoots now, like 40 yards, which was like a long distance shot back in the day, that's a chip shot now.
Yeah,
like
that's what you start at.
if you go to like the mountain archery festivals or the Total Archery Challenge or whatever, like most of those targets don't even start till 90.
Yeah.
And it's like
insane.
they go to like 140, and it's a bummer, like
Yeah.
and because like I know I can like hit a target at 100, but my sight won't let me go that far. Well,
Yeah.
now it will.
So what do people who aren't shooting like a dial and they just have whatever and their handicappers are shooting like insanely heavy arrows in a short draw or whatever? What do they do at those shoots? They just don't shoot them?
No, to Kentucky windage it, just
Hope for the best.
pull and pray.
but do you feel like that, like
Jesus,
that,
take the wheel.
like that could like verify, like from you, like shooting a verifier,
Doesn't make a difference.
it doesn't make like
That's just
with the
magnification.
lens and
Yep.
everything.
Doesn't make a difference.
It doesn't make a difference.
Because that's like how you see it versus like what's physically there.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if you see it here, but like now instead of going up and down, you're kind of moving it towards you.
It might
clarify it a little bit better?
It's such a minimal like adjustment here versus out there.
Right.
So like by your face,
Yep.
don't even notice it. Like you can crank that thing all the way to the top, all the way to the bottom. It doesn't matter. Like it's the same, but downrange, it makes huge, difference. So those are I would say our two like pinnacle, like proprietary features.
Yeah.
And then, you get into like the windage, we have micro, macro windage, which everybody else has. But then when you get into our scope housing, which we call a mag, we don't use the term housing. We call it a mag because it's interchangeable. But if you look at the face of it, again, it was kind of about like, how can we extend your range type of like idea, and every other site. And it's been for decades. And I can remember going back to like when I was 14 working an archery shop. Like, I mean, you're talking 20 something years. Every single site has had the level in the bottom. Every single site. And so when we started talking about like, okay, are we going to have a single pin? Like what's our first introductory like mag going to look like? We're like, well, what if we did a dual pin on a single post? And okay, then it was like, well, what's that gap going to be? And so we started going through that argument, and Taylor was actually the one who's like, well, what if we got rid of the level? Then we could drop that second pin down lower. So now you can cover more distance. Because really from a hunting perspective, one pin, I mean, you can cover from 20 to 40 yards with one pin. Like if you know your setup, your hold over, your hold under, whatever. So having a 20 and 35 is really not that efficient. Like it's kind of whatever. But the biggest advantage to having the level in the top is if you're shooting longer distance, and you're aiming, and a lot of people don't pay attention to their level, which is a huge mistake. Like if you're not looking at your level, like you're not shooting the best you can. But the problem is when you're on target and you look at your level, so it kind of goes back to like if anybody that's ever shot like handguns or shotguns or whatever, like you always aim with your eyes, not with the sight, right? Like so wherever your eyes look, that's where the gun would point. So when you're aiming and you look down to look at your level, where your hand's gonna go? Down, right? Yep. So next thing you know, you're below the target, and now you have to come up on the target, which is fighting gravity. So now you're wasting time, you're wasting energy. Where when you put the level on the top, one, it's more in your peripheral vision. So you don't even have to like really look at the level. Like as you're looking at the target, you can see the level in your peripheral. But two, if you do take your eye off the target to look at the level, now you're looking up. So your hands will go up, and now you're just going to float down onto target.
Which is more natural anyway.
It's less, you're not expending any energy.
Makes sense.
But then it also gave us more retail space on the pin to drop our second pin down lower. So now for most people, we have like a 20 and a 50 gap. So now from 20 to 50, you're covering those ranges without even touching your dial. So in most hunting scenarios, you're covered.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
But then if you did want to, let's say like, you max out at, let's say you max out at 100 with your top pin, and there's a target at like 120 or something like that, you still have your bottom pin to aim with. So you're not out of the game.
Yeah,
like you're still shooting.
Any issues, you can use that bottom one to get out there. It's
right.
It's thought of everything.
And then now, like with the introductory of our Mag 3V, which is a 3 pin on a single post, you do get that 20, 35, like 50-ish spread. So you do kind of cover all those ranges.
I think mine came out like on the dot on my Envision was like 20 and 50. Like on the dot.
That's what I mean.
Well,
on,
I set the
on
pin
average, average, that's about what it is.
Unless you're shooting like an insanely heavy or light arrow. Or,
yeah, I mean it's different for everybody, but I mean most.
That's what you guys are going after.
I'm shooting a 70-pound bow this year. I didn't
running with the big boys.
Normally run 65. Now, I don't know how big a difference it'll make.
Letting the big dog eat.
Yeah, I figured it was time to let that right arm flex a little.
Found a new love for needles.
Yeah, me. You know me, the pinnacle of fitness and physique. It's your boy, Kurt.
You'll like it if you start shooting a heavier arrow. That poundage will come in handy.
Yeah, I think I want to. So
yeah, and honestly, from like a drawing, like actual like poundage felt from like 65 to 70, there's no difference.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd really expect one, but no, man, I love the Dialed sight. We're proud of you.
I do too.
And it's exciting. And not to mention that you guys
Hats off to you guys.
The color options you guys offer right off the rip is damn impressive.
That alone's pretty.
So that was the other big thing was, just again, doing something totally different is offering the customization part. So when you're on the website, you'll see you get 4 different frame color options. So you get black, which is, just standard black. And then you get sage, earth, and then smoke. So regardless of what brand bow you're shooting or what color scheme they have, chances are we do have a frame that'll match the color. And again, it just goes back to like just that integrated, making everything look like it was made out of like one piece. But then on the dial, the void dial side, you get 13 different colors. So whatever color tickles your fancy, we got it.
Tickles your pickle.
Black on black is just such a good look, though.
It's sharp. It's sharp.
There's
really, and like we get asked all the time, like, what's your favorite like color combo? They're all good.
They are.
Can't really go wrong.
Doug, you rocked the purple.
The purple.
Yeah.
Purple nurple.
The purple nurple.
Yeah.
So Doug's
made by Scott Bakken.
I did make Doug's.
With love.
Ooh.
I did make Doug's.
Doug's bow this year. What are we calling it? Blue balls.
I do like blue balls a lot.
It's all just. It's a badass.
Not
blue.
intentionally, but.
Dude,
you'll have that.
You'll have that.
Yeah.
The blue void dial would look good in that baby.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks.
I might know a guy that can hook you up with a new.
Oh, you do?
Dial, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
We figured that out, huh? eBay. Is that what you said?
eBay.
Craigslist. Find it on there.
Oh, right there. That's the combo right there.
That is sweet. Black on blue. No, dude, I think it's awesome. It fits. It has its own look. You guys are kick ass, man. We're proud
it.
to be a part of this.
Yeah.
Use code working class for free shipping. Like
Yep.
that plug, shameless a little bit, but
Yep.
but I'll take it. Cool thing about it is like we had a business relationship and a friendship. You know, there is a difference, and it was like a real friendship from the rip. And when you guys started Dialed, like out of like respect, legit, you didn't say shit to us. Like we knew about it, we kind of talked about it, but like it was just like, oh, he's killing it. That's great.
Well, dude, it was one of those things where, you know, again, when like we officially decided this is what we're gonna do, and we actually developed the product before we even knew what we were gonna call the company. Like, you know, we tried to get our names and initials to work, but it just nothing worked. And I was actually at a shoot, and I kept hearing everybody's like, "Are you dialed? Are you dialed? Are you dialed in? Are you dialed in?" And then it didn't really like click in my head, but I was just like, you know, geez, nobody ever says like they're sighted in anymore.
Right.
And then we get back and like Taylor's like, "Hey, we got the name for the company." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, what's it called?" And they're like, "Dialed in Archery." I'm like, "No fucking shit." Like, well, and then we changed it to Dialed. But yeah, it just, you know, again, it's just, and even just like sitting here, it's just like looking like throughout the last, whatever, like 2 years, you know, again, going back to like our relationship, you know, which started off as a business relationship that turned into like a friendship. But, you know, when we started this, we did keep it very like tight-lipped because we really, I mean, we just didn't know, you know, and like the last thing you want to do is just like go and, you know, like spreading the word, doing all this stuff, and then not delivering, and then you just look like an asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we did like keep it very, very tight-lipped. Like we told our families, we told, you know, people that we could like help us, you know, develop and stuff. And then I remember when you two were in the truck together and you called me, and I don't forget where you're heading to a trade show, and you're like, "Yeah, so what's Dialed Archery?" Like, nothing.
And that's the thing. Like when you left the company that we were working for, like you kind of went off on your own. Like let him do his thing.
I
like,
did.
And we called you like, "Hey,
disappeared.
so what's next?" He's like, "I got something in the making," and we obviously already seen Dialed because it was already out. Mm-hmm. I got something in the making. We kind of put two and two together, you know, but we didn't.
I did. I just.
We didn't.
It was respectful.
It was
Well,
respectful.
it just, you know, honestly,
we put two and two together, but we didn't put two and two together.
you know,
that
not
kind of
to
thing?
like at the, you know, going back to like where I was like in my personal life, like I was so just, like I said, I was ready just to say goodbye to the industry.
Right.
And so when Dialed was like brewing in the background, like, yeah, I left, I moved out to Wyoming, and I just left.
You're saying fuck it.
I didn't tell anybody.
You're saying fuck it.
Well, remember we talked.
Zero goodbyes. I was just like, I'm out. And I was out there for 5 months. And it was honestly the best thing I have ever done, because it completely just like separated like all those feelings I was having and like everything I was going through. And then when I came back, I was like fully charged and ready.
Hey, you need to hit that reset button.
Scott, you
You need to hit
remember
that.
I talked to you when you were guided in Wyoming, and I was hunting mule. I was getting ready to go hunt mule deer in Wyoming.
Oh yeah.
So, and I was like, and you're like, yeah, dude, you're almost like almost. I don't want to say you were borderline free spirited hippie there for.
I was. Oh yeah.
Like, I'm just getting away, man.
Yeah, I was.
Fuck everybody.
I was. Like I
I'm like,
didn't.
hey, dude, kill it, man. I like it.
I totally was. And
And then that's when you came home. We went to trade show. And we're like, let's call Bakken. What's he been up to?
Yeah, so it'd have been, yeah, because I don't even know if we at that point talked about it, because I think we were just talking about life in general.
Yeah.
Because we were just talking about life shit. Because I think we were both going through it a little bit. Like my dad had just passed like
Yep.
earlier that year. You're going through this shit, so it would have been after the fall into that coming trade show.
Trade
season.
shows.
yeah, it was you're probably right. It was going into that trade show season. And I remember I was sitting at home and I saw your name pop up on my phone. I'm like, the fuck does he want? I haven't talked to him in a while.
Thought I was
this
done
guy.
with these idiots.
Yeah.
And,
Fuck this guy.
and at that time though, that was when like people were finding out. And I hate to even say it, but like
say it.
what really, when we launched our Valentine's video, that was like, hey, this is Dialed. And then that was like the announcement that like I was part of Dialed.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a very good way.
Is that your ultimate? Your ultimate?
What was your name on that video?
I'm not saying.
What was it?
You can YouTube it.
I will right now.
Just what was it?
But anyways, it served its purpose. And
It served its purpose.
yeah. Yeah. So then you guys
Hey, it
called
got
me.
you where you're at now, right?
Yeah, look at me now. But yeah, so then you guys called, and then that was when like, yeah, Dialed's here, and that's me.
That's me.
That's me.
Us. I should say that's us.
Scooter rocking, right?
Scooter rocking
Hold
right
on.
there. That's Scott Bakken.
Right.
So my mom watched this video,
Yeah,
and
what'd she say?
she literally called me. She's like, "So is this what you gave your life up for?"
Yeah. Did
not open
you
your
say
case at
yeah?
all.
What'd you say? What'd you respond?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Such a
Abs-
disappointment.
Guessing you're here to talk about your archery needs. Let Uncle Scooter take you for a ride. Is your archery love life getting
blur.
dusty like Irene here?
I literally have never seen that
It's time to
part.
Spice things up with the Arcsos by Dialed Archery. See this angle right here? It'll help you go the distance. This void dial with the switch tape, it goes both ways, both inside and out.
Oh
You're in
shit.
for the long haul. You feel that? Rock hard American aluminum, backed by Dialed Archery's lifetime warranty. If you're looking to add a little cayenne pepper to your archery love life, show your Arcsos a little love with Dialed Custom.
Oh shit.
Available in 13 colors.
60
From all of
61.
us at Dialed Archery, we wish you a happy Valentine's Day, and Uncle Scooter will be seeing you down the road.
How do you even get your legs like that?
A bottle of whiskey.
Booze. That's awesome. Oh, Scott, that's kick ass, dude.
Old Scooter.
Old Scooter.
When is Scooter making a comeback? I mean, it can't make that can't be his
We
only.
did.
That can't be his only one, right?
We did a 4th of July video.
Oh, I saw that one.
didn't make an appearance or what?
It's right there on the right.
Right here?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, there's Scooter.
This was when everybody was giving us shit because they weren't getting their sights.
Yeah, me.
Oh, when you're out there making videos.
Yeah, they're fucking off.
Yeah. Yeah. One dude's like, I'd probably get my sights sooner if you guys weren't making videos.
Oh no!
Oh no.
There's a trailer. Sure, you thought we were in.
Jesus.
I still have that fanny pack too.
Full of steel and sex
You know we can't
appeal.
afford to license that. Shut up, hippie. I came here for my bow sight.
Whoa, Scooter. They're shipping this month.
How many ticks do you get?
A lot.
Easy, Scooter.
This month is about freedom. And Scooter always gets what he wants.
All things that are made well and American made take time, Scooter. We're almost there.
Well, what the hell am I supposed to do while I wait?
I'm a pretty good actor.
You're not
Yeah,
bad.
you're really good.
You're not bad.
You can light the shit out of that firework, I can tell you that.
It was hot as shit that day too.
Fuck! You had to move over a chair.
That's awesome. I'm a fan.
Love it.
You eating a corn dog?
No, listen. Oh, it's a. No, it was a popsicle.
Oh,
So can we expect Scooter to make a comeback?
He'll make. Oh, here.
Good popsicle.
I thought you had a corn dog.
Is
Which would have been equally as
is Scooter
American.
gonna make a comeback?
He will eventually.
Okay.
Oh, dude, I love it, man. We're proud of you. We're excited to be a part of this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's again just not to get all, emotional. But again, it's just like being here now. It just like it's just all part of it, you know.
Right.
And again,
It
like
makes sense.
not that anything we did before like didn't matter or anything, but it led us to like this point, you know.
for sure.
And it's
100%.
you know, like all the conversations we had before, like all the stuff we wanted to do, like whatever, and it's like now we can finally do it. Like,
Yeah.
and that was like the whole thing with Dialed, like, you know, with the Cerakoting and stuff, like all the customization, and I mean everything we're doing now, like that's just like the surface. Like we haven't even tapped into like what we want to do or what like we're gonna do. So this is just the beginning.
That's exciting.
Awesome.
That's a good business.
Yeah.
prospect.
Because
yeah.
we talked through.
Scooters got more.
We can't. Scooters got more. We can't. We'll be careful with how we what we say, but like, yeah, we just had a ton of ideas in the past and things we wanted to explore. But I will say too, like
We were kind of limited before.
I remember the phone call that I don't know when it was, fairly recent. You're like, you called me up. I was like cleaning the garage or something. You're like, hey man, I don't want to ask you, and I want to, you know, you were very respectful, but it was like, let's explore some ideas. Like, let's explore. And I'm looking forward to the future, man.
I mean that's
story
two
short.
things. Like if you could describe me, like I'm an idea man and I like to explore. So the fact that was in one sentence kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense.
I was like, where are you going with this?
It really could go anywhere.
I'm like, idea man and likes to
Kurt's like,
explore.
How do you feel about airplanes and midgets? Like
I'm like, well,
Am I talking to Scott or am I talking to Scooter?
this guy,
it's one in the same.
airplanes and midgets don't hate either.
Let's not kid ourselves.
I've been on an airplane, never been on a midget.
Yeah.
this got a lot of weird in one sentence.
No, it is exciting, and I mean, it's, you know, if I'm being honest, like it's scary too, you know, because you know, like I look at it, you know, like with our group, you know, like Jordan, Taylor, I mean, they're young dudes, they got young families. Like I don't have a family or anything. Like, well, I mean, I don't provide for anybody. But it's like now it's like I feel responsible. Like, even though we're all partners, like we're all in this together, but like there's no, like failure's not an option, you know? So it's like whatever we have to do, let's do it, you know? And
Your balls deep in it.
I mean, there is no plan B from here, you know, like this is it. And so when the opportunity came to like us finally partner up and like do all the things that we talked about, it's like that's a no-brainer, you know. And it kind of, again, like there's that synergy in the fact that, like, you know, again, looking back to when we first met to like where you guys are now, leaps and bounds. So like you guys know all the stuff that like you've gone through, which we're going through, and you know, then again, here we are. So it's like you combine that, I mean, that is like a driving force for sure the future. So it's like
meet in the middle.
No, that doesn't apply here. That's a good song though.
Damn it!
No, that's
song, but
no,
That's
that's not what I was thinking at all.
I thought we just beat in the middle.
Sit by that much.
No,
I thought we just beat in the middle.
I get shit right
no,
with
I
soundboard.
don't want to meet in the middle. I want to go above the middle.
Yeah, we're meeting at the top and then taking the top higher.
Yeah. You can stay in the middle if you want.
Well,
I don't want to
I
be
thought
in the
we'd be in the middle and go up.
There's a song that we could.
We'll figure
There's
it
a song
out.
with a great analogy in there somewhere. You'll
Probably
find
like what about like Drake? Like we started from the bottom, now we're here.
that would have been better than meeting
That
in the
would have
middle.
been better.
Yeah. Except we're still at the bottom, but we'll get there.
Hey, none of you other assholes came up with a song, so
He just did.
Literally just did in 2 seconds.
after I came up with the song,
Eric's delusional from that chip he ate before this podcast.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing 1,000,000 times better than that fucking pepper.
You also drank like 8 glasses of rum or whiskey right after you ate that chip, so that helps.
Well, the pepper I ate drank 14 beers, so
Yeah,
Well,
what would
you
be better,
got
whiskey
a
or
ways to
beer?
go then.
What you think? Whiskey or beer is a better? Were you drinking whiskey? Is that what you were drinking after the chip?
no, rum.
Rum.
Oh, rum. Okay, yeah,
Rum.
I was right. The sugar offset, all that sugar offset the spice of the
Hey,
chip.
we did find something out
Turns
tonight.
out-
Rum has no sugar in it.
Oh yeah.
We're at dinner. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go like a month without like drinking beer. I'm just gonna drink some like white rum and like water, you know, and they're like, yeah, but dude, rum's loaded with sugar. I'm like, fuck, I think you are right. Like, I think that is right.
Old rum used to be loaded with sugar. That's how they
Pirate
made
rum.
Right,
sugar.
white
Yeah.
rum isn't, but
Well, all rum now is
No.
distilled, so all
Alexa
rum now
told
has
us.
like 0 sugar in
Yeah,
it.
we're talking about it at the bar, and I'm like, hey, yo, Alexa, hey, bitch, what's up with that sugar in this rum? They're like, there ain't no sugar in that rum. I was like, damn, told you guys.
Yeah.
shit fuck.
That was
Tasty.
like
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, I always hear people say, oh, I can't drink rum because the sugar gives me a headache.
when I was
No.
well, maybe it's like
It's the 9
rum
glasses of rum that gave you a headache.
or the rum with orange juice and grenadine and
It's the
all the
Coca-Cola
other-
you're
yeah,
mixing.
it's the Coke that you're mixing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turns out it's the soda.
The soda.
So, dude, anything else we got to throw in here?
You got any big hunts coming up? You going to have any time to hunt?
No, I don't hunt anymore.
No, you're all done with that.
Everybody wants
For
a job
now,
in the
for
industry
now.
until it's time to work in the industry.
I that was like the one, like going into last fall, we were all like, oh yeah, like we're gonna go on these trips, like we're gonna get content for Dialed, all this stuff, and none of us did shit.
Right out the way.
You ain't got
I
time to take a
hunted. I
shit.
hunted 3 nights, and it was with a muzzleloader.
Hey,
I think I shot my bow. Well, I shot my bow a lot, probably more than I have, just for like testing and whatever. But I didn't sit in a tree stand a single time. I put out 1 trail camera. I hung 2 tree stands, which, as I said, I never sat. So no, I don't. I don't. I did. I mean, just. I did put in for Wyoming elk tag this year. Just I'll be back out there guiding again, but man, I don't know. Right
That's
now
a
it's
sacrifice, man.
it's all
Hey.
dialed.
Yeah.
So
cut yourself 7 days for an elk hunt if you draw.
thing is I mean, even 7 days though, I mean that's the crazy, like I have so much respect for like business owners, and because like there is no end. Like I mean, we're at the shop from sun up to sundown.
There's no
but
off
then
switch.
from sundown till whenever, that's when I get all the office shit done.
Yeah.
And then you get a couple hours sleep, but then I don't sleep because I wake up because I'm thinking about I got bills to pay tomorrow. I got this, we
Yeah.
got this, I got to remember this. So there is no off.
There's
So
no off switch.
it's really hard, as much as I would like, honestly, like being here, this is like the closest to having a vacation that I've had in the last 18
You're
months.
talking about your business.
And I mean, seriously, like my phone's been in my pocket the whole time, like whatever, but I mean, that's just how it is. But
Good.
it's like, you know, what do they call it? It's a labor of love, you know? So I like it, you know, like as much as I love hunting and all that stuff, like, you know, a couple years without hunting, whatever.
Yeah.
You know,
You grind it out now, and 2 or 3
Yeah.
years down
Exactly.
the road, you'll be back doing what you
and it's
supposed to do.
great. Like, you know, it sounds kind of fucked up, but I like living vicariously through like you guys, you know, or like people that are using our stuff. So, you know, like we had a guy, he actually did the launch video for Hoyt, and he was on a bighorn sheep hunt in Canada, and like watching all of that, like as much as I would love to do that, like that's a like bucket list hunt for me, to be able to watch that. It was like, I'm satisfied. Like to see somebody accomplish that with like our product.
Yeah.
Like that's like that. Okay. I can like go to bed happy that night.
For sure.
Like
100%.
that's why we're doing this. So, and that was like the big thing with Dialed too is, you know, the industry has like given me so much over like my lifetime. So, you know, again, kind of going back to like one of my previous comments about like the way the industry is going with, you know, there's not a lot of new companies popping up, like not like there used to be. And, you know, like it's been a long time. Like you walk the ATA floor and like all these companies that you grew up, like knowing, and then all of a sudden they're owned by this private equity company or this private equity company. Like maybe someday Dialed will be owned by a private equity company. I don't know, but it's not good. Like it's like, in my opinion, it's not good for the health of the industry. Like
Agreed.
it does not promote growth because it's all about dollars, right?
Yep.
So, you know, if Dialed can do one thing, like, you know, whether we're here 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever our tenure is, if it can motivate like younger guys or younger people, men, women, doesn't matter, to take the risk and like start a new company and pump new blood into the industry, that's what's gonna like make it survive. You know, that's
100%.
that is the future of hunting in general. Is the younger generation, right? And you know, again, not to bring up the evil COVID word, but if that was the one thing that we saw, was participation was through the roof, right? But now we're not seeing the retention. Like, are we higher than we were prior to COVID? 100%. But we also lost a lot of participants. So, you know, again, like if we can like encourage like anybody to like take that risk, like start a company, like whatever it is, like fucking do it, because the industry needs it.
For sure. Yeah, it's kind of scary when you see all that going on, but
It is, and it's not good. I mean, it's, you know, and again, like, I mean, you're talking, I mean, like big problems, you know, societal stuff, like tribal, you know, whatever, but it's not for the health of the hunting industry. Like, it's not good.
Time is now.
Yeah. So
it's a good point. Something to think about out
yeah,
there.
for sure.
But also it's like, man, I mean, some of these companies, it's like they just get offered crazy, like life-changing amount of money for some of these guys. It's like, fuck.
I mean, honestly, I don't blame them one bit.
You
not
can't-
one,
you
not
can't
one
blame
bit.
them.
I mean, especially now, like having gone through everything that we've gone through, and again, that's only the start of the struggle. Like we say all the time, like we think things are hard now. Like 10 years from now, when we're 10 times bigger, it just gets harder. I mean, you know, having more employees, like problems get bigger, problems cost more money. Like it just gets harder.
Yeah.
So I get it,
But
man.
problems
like,
make you learn.
like there is that time when you realize like, okay, it's time. Like I've grinded it out. I've sacrificed. Like it's time to walk away. Don't blame anybody one bit. Like you go, like you did your dues. Like go enjoy life, you know, take your wife on all those vacations. Like
Go
go
hunting.
hunt wherever you wanted to hunt. Like don't blame them one bit. But the problem with that is there's not anybody behind that, right? Like starting over, you know, there's no new growth, and that's the problem. It's not the selling out, like that's just business life cycle.
Like this might sound bad, but it's almost kind of like the American dream in a way, is like build something, make a ton of money off it, and then you can
Sell.
recycle and start something,
Yeah.
something new. But
Well, and I mean, shit, like we're going down a rabbit hole right now.
yeah, this
but,
is deep.
I mean, I can tell you like firsthand, I mean, that American dream, like it is a dream, you know, be your own boss, like start your own company, you know, but fuck, man, like I just had to pay like our like quarterly taxes on Tuesday. That dream is bullshit, you know, and
It is.
you know, like you bust your ass, like all the sleepless nights, like everything. And you finally see your bank account starting to like climb. And then just like that, it's fucking gone.
Yeah.
Stroke of a pen, all gone.
The sleepless nights away from family.
Means nothing.
I mean,
means nothing.
Taxes
Yeah.
are the devil.
Well, and the thing is, like, I don't have a problem with taxes, but it's just like, it's
It's just so much taxes.
You're trying.
well,
you're trying-
and to
you're
the
trying
wrong
you-
people,
You're
you
trying to
know,
better,
like,
you're trying to better yourself, and then they just throw you in a fucking trash can.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then me,
All I'm
anyways.
saying, dude, if you had to go pay
Start-
your monthly income tax, everybody did down at the fucking courthouse or whatever, there'd be a goddamn revolt.
Oh yeah.
Well, I don't have an income, so I don't pay income tax.
Well,
but
the people know what I'm saying. Like imagine every week you see that number and then you're like, oh, this is what you're gonna have to pay at the end of the month on your check stub, and you had to go down and pay it. We'd be at a civil war, dude, with the
100%.
government.
it's brutal, man. And like I've never had more empathy for like business owners, you know, like family businesses than I do now. Like I get it, man.
Dude, I get
You
why
know?
all the rappers never paid their taxes, dude. I'm like, how's all these guys all this money don't pay taxes? I'm like, yeah, man, I get it.
I don't, because most of them aren't even that good.
I know I'm being an asshole, but it's like Lil Wayne got popped for tax fraud back in the day. I'm like, damn, how does Lil Wayne get popped? Doesn't? I get it.
Yeah, do you blame,
Yeah.
hey, do you blame him?
Well, he didn't know he probably didn't know what taxes were.
No, fuck
but I don't blame him.
He probably thought it was taxis.
Oh yeah.
I already paid those.
I bought a bunch of those.
What do you mean? Income
I
tax.
put it in a song. I wrote that shit off.
Yeah,
They just dropped me off.
I wrote that shit off.
it's fucked up.
And that was the other thing. Like, you know, that's always like the big joke of like working for yourself. It's like, oh, I'm gonna buy something and I'll just write it off.
Write it off.
Like, I'm gonna buy this. I'll just write it off.
That's
like,
not how it works.
that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
It's a write-off. What does
It's
that
a
mean?
write-off.
Doesn't you still have to pay for it?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, there's a science to that. Yeah. Well, dude, where can people find Dialed Archery?
DialedArchery.com.
I love it. How'd you think
Google
of that? Easy. It's, a good,
I didn't. That was-
it's amazing. It is.
didn't.
The name is so good. It's amazing that somebody else hadn't already had it.
That's a good point.
yeah, and you know, again, it's just, you know, I think there's as much as there was like strategy. I mean, there was a lot of strategy. There was a lot of luck too. You know.
Yeah.
You know that was part of it, but I mean, even from like Jordan, like coming up with our logo. You know, it's just
clean.
there again. Everything's just it's there for a reason. you
Yeah.
know?
It's a damn good look, man.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you. We're proud of you. We're excited for the partnership and growing together and doing cool shit together. We're excited to bring some cool stuff in the future to WCB listeners and Dialed Archery
gonna be
consumers.
awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's gonna be awesome.
thanks for reaching out and letting us be a part of this.
My pleasure. Glad you guys gave us the opportunity and have faith in us, and of
course.
it's gonna be pretty rad.
Cool.
We're glad you still have faith in us.
Anybody else?
Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Doug.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Let's not wait 3 years for the next one.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
I know. I need to just like move closer. I was literally thinking about that on the way down.
Hey, you can move into this building right here.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
You just, Dow just has to pay to finish it.
Wow.
Hey.
There lies the issue.
Hey, it's a
Yeah,
write-off.
just write it off.
Write it off. That's a tax write-off, right?
It's -20 in Minnesota right now, so
Ugh.
I would pretty much.
Hey, you can stay here as long as you want.
I might. I might.
It's going to cost you a big partnership branding deal.
Shit.
But you can live here.
Got him.
Shit,
Got you, bitch. Austin, what you got?
Nothing, man. Thanks for coming down. It was awesome. Good to see you again.
It's truly, I mean, it's awesome to see you guys.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been that long, but
It's sad,
this is
actually.
awesome.
And this is your first time here, and that's even more sad.
Dude,
That's crazy.
And I'm not going to say I apologize for my comments walking in the door because they are justified, but like, I'm truly, like, I was
We were
I was
kind of
just like,
offended. We were kind of offended by it.
it's,
They're backhanded, but that's good.
I'm sorry for your sensitivity. You know, like, grow up, Peter Pan. But it was like, I mean, it was like sticker shock. Like, I mean, this place is amazing.
Thanks,
I
man.
mean,
Thank
and
you.
again, to like, it's so, like, I'm so happy and like proud of you guys. Cause again, like going back from like our very first podcast, like I remember that. Like, I don't remember shit. Like, I remember that very first podcast. And then to like see you guys here and like see how much you guys have grown. I mean, that is like kudos to you guys. Like,
I remember
you.
our conversation like the following week after that podcast came out. And I remember being like, hey, man, you think we could maybe do like a sponsorship or something? You're like, yeah, I'll send you a couple
couple forms.
cool sponsored. That's
Yeah.
how it started.
yeah.
Like, really? That was like the start of like, but then, the friendship started too. And that's like the most important
Yeah.
thing. But I'm glad that you're
I
impressed.
really think like the like rubber meets the road moment was when you guys you came to my Christmas party.
Yep.
And that was like you guys probably didn't know it at the time, but that was a test. And I remember when you guys showed up in your sweatpants and your hoodies at a very
Steve was the only one that had sweatpants on, for the record.
Yeah, but like let's be honest, like everyone was in like suit and ties and shit. We show up looking like fucking bums.
Oh,
yeah.
We are.
And I remember the old timer that was manning the door for coats, and he was my neighbor. He was not a hired person, but
He's a slave.
I remember he being like, "Hey, do you know these guys?" I'm being like, "Yeah, they're cool." I mean, like, you guys couldn't even like wear polos or anything. Like,
We didn't
We
know
didn't get a fucking itinerary, okay?
What's a polo?
and then you ruined that dude's Christmas.
Hey, fuck
Kurt
that kid,
did.
man.
Kurt ruined that guy. That kid's Christmas.
That kid got a brand new snowmobile for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know I ruined it. Everyone was all talking about it. Then you're like, hey, talk to him. I'm like, oh, he already got it.
No, he didn't know he was getting it.
I know. I thought about it the other day. I was like, fuck. But I didn't ruin his Christmas.
Yeah, fuck
You
that dude.
ruined
He got
it.
a brand new
Yeah.
snowmobile for
Brand
I'm
new-
sure he was
Fuck
real
that.
sad about
Long
it.
story short, it was a kid from the area that you guys were friends with or whatever. And
He's probably listening.
shout out to him, dude. Yeah, it's good. I hope he still has that snowmobile, or he's probably got a newer one. But we're all at the bar, and everyone's like showing pictures of the snowmobile and talking to him on the phone. So I'm like, oh, he got it already because it's winter. I figured that was his Christmas gift. I'm like, damn, dude, rad snowmobile. And they're like, no. And I'm like, oh,
Kurt
fuck.
just ruins it.
I think somebody actually took the phone and slammed it in the bar.
I
And,
fucking gave it to somebody.
Oh yeah.
But then they were like, oh, no, he was already at the dealership and saw his
Yeah,
name on it.
yeah, he picked it.
So I'm like, he knew it. I just,
Yeah,
You ruined
you're
it.
fine.
hey, you know what, dude? Fucking ruined my
and
Christmas.
then you,
Give
and
me a
then you
snowmobile.
told him that Santa Claus wasn't real and the Easter Bunny was gay.
That's what got it.
Hey,
Yeah, that's the bad part.
don't be.
That was really
that
the
was
bad
the real
part.
issue, actually.
I forgot about that.
Thanks for bringing it up, Doug.
Damn, you're right. All right, now I feel a little embarrassed. Not about the snowmobile part.
Well,
Calling the Easter Bunny gay. It's a shame.
Well, you just don't know.
Whoops.
All right, it's time to go. Thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for tuning in. You know what to do. Check out dialedarchery.com and go shoot your bow with a dialed on it. We love you. Peace.